Hello, and welcome back to the Hawaiian Mint Recap. I'm Ricky,
I'm Cesar
and we're going to recap episode 5.
in Santiago, Chile. So this one was really fun, really
Yes.
entertaining, and now I guess like starting with
Yeah.
driving stick shift.
Driving stick shift in Santiago. I was very excited to be driving stick. I grew up driving a stick shift car, so I thought that was really fun, and that was the first time.
I actually learned to drive in a Beetle, on a
A
Volkswagen Beetle.
Volkswagen Beetle.
Yes, and Chihuahua can be like hilly, so that was tricky. But I haven't driven in a while. Actually, a fun fact: like I ended up needing to get my American driver's license for the Amazing Race like a month before we left. So that was a lot of rushing, but I got it. And as well, like we get to practice a little bit. Like we rented a car, we practice stick shift. Oh, mostly me.
I did not need to practice.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
Picked it right back up. I haven't driven in a while because I lived in the city for many years. So
dusting
off the cobwebs. Yes. But yeah, if you noticed, we are still not at home. We're still traveling.
So that's why, like, we're filming it today. Like,
we're filming today. We're not doing it live. We had my sister's wedding, so we were traveling for that. So we're just doing a regular video today, not a live one. So we just wanted to still give you a recap of our experience.
And if you haven't checked the previous recaps, go to our YouTube channel and like they're all under the live folder. So you can find all the other recaps over there. Just if you like them, make sure to do the thumbs up and subscribe if you want to keep seeing more videos about.
And leave us some comments, ask us some questions. Maybe for the next one, we can answer them.
We do read all of the comments.
Yes,
so,
we do.
Should we start?
Yeah, let's get started.
So first group. And this time we're again with Vinny and Amber. Which is, we got to see them race like before. So we sort of like know now what level we're competing there. What we didn't know was that the map that we were going to get, well, we're really thankful that we got a map.
Yeah, so this like they did provide us a map, which we didn't know when we stepped off.
So as we're starting and like we're doing our morning interviews and all of that, we see that there's like a travel agency across the street.
We started in like a really beautiful like park, a square.
Right by the cathedral.
And so while we were standing there kind of like getting ready to like, rip our clue, we noticed like right across to the right, there was a travel agency. So we're like, okay, like
as soon as we rip it, like, we go over there.
We go straight there.
We saw how much it helped in Puerto Vallarta having a map. So we didn't know that they were going to provide and all of that. So first things first, we rip that clue and it says, "Welcome to Santiago, Chile. Find Marilyn Monroe. Turn the bird to receive your next clue."
Yes.
So we rip the clue, we run away, like, and you can see it on
you can see it very quickly. You see, like, we both run, like Amber and Vinny,
and then we split up.
They go this way, and then we go a different way. But they don't show us going to the travel agency.
So we walked into the travel agency, and there was only one guy like mopping.
Yeah, he was just cleaning, and we were like, okay, well, that was a bust. So we left. And
stopped to get directions.
We stopped and got directions before we even got to
it. Was really early in the morning, but thankfully there was a group of tourists.
Yeah.
That we were just like, "Can we use your phone, please?" Like right away. Again, it was a group of maybe 4 people, but that was everyone that we saw around. So it's better to get released from 4 people than like trying to look for one person and just like
and I think they were English speaking. They were tourists. So we were able to like communicate really well with them. We used their phone. We took their phone, plugged it in, Googled like Marilyn Monroe's car, looked it up because I don't think, do we have an address in the additional
we did have an address. Okay. Well, no, we didn't have an address. It said just like find the Agromedo Performance.
Oh, the performance like garage.
Yes.
So it wasn't an exact address, but it was the location.
So we
were able to like
we Google it. We start taking notes, and then we have all our notes written down. We start running, and you will see on the map a little bit later. We're gonna show you a map. Like the cars were we did got a street name for where the cars were
Yeah.
parked. So as we turn, the cars are parked right there, and
Like-
there's a line. Yes, the benefit of being on the first group, there's more cars.
Yeah, there's more
Oh,
cars, so
but
they're very
then-
visible.
So, but they were right there. They were marked, and there was a mark on the light post. So we got there. We get on the car. Vinny and Amber are getting on their car, and we see that we have a map. So that was just like, yes,
A
thank you.
relief.
So now it's just like, for me, was finding it where the
Yeah.
map. I have to say that it wasn't the clearest map. It didn't have that many bearings. It just had like street names, and they were not all the streets were there. So it was tricky. And although I'm a good navigator, it's just
I don't think I really even looked at the map that day, so I don't remember what it looked like.
it was just like a struggle a little. I
Yeah.
was able to pinpoint like the area at least where we needed to go, and we started driving. I don't think we got lost at this point.
No, that one, the directions there weren't very
The
challenging.
one thing that we have to mention is like Santiago, Chile has a lot of like one-way streets, and
Yes.
we also knew that, and this is because all the teams were told that we needed to be careful, because at some point during the day, the street sides direction
like,
changes
Depending on the time of day, the directions change. So like
in some of the streets.
Yeah, so like during a rush hour, like this street could be a one way, and then during different hours, it could be like
the opposite way.
So you had to be like really cautious of like where you were going. I think there was like a little clip of like Danny and Angie at one point. They were like, "Oh, turn right," and
they
Angie
couldn't
was like,
turn-
"I
yes,
can't turn
yes.
right," and he was like, "Oh, okay." Like, okay, go to the next one. Like, so there were even moments when you thought you knew where you were going,
But there was no way.
and there was no way of turning, because you kind of even had to know. You had to be a local to know those little things.
Or
in
if
the
not, just
timing.
loop around
You
and
just had
let's
to,
see,
like,
and like
loop.
hope that you don't
So
get
the
lost.
navigation really was like an extra challenge for
Yes.
this leg. Like,
As
Yeah.
we found out a little later.
yes.
So we ended up making it to the Agrumento Performance, and we parked. There were two sections of the building,
Yeah, there were two separate garages.
part of the same thing.
Yeah.
So then we parked. We were the first ones there.
Mhm.
We started looking for.
So the first garage was like more of like a mechanics storage garage. And so we're like going through, like, there's some like disassembled cars, and like I'm not like a huge car buff, but like growing up I knew
Oh, you were naming them.
I was
left and
naming
right. You
like
were
I know cars. Like my parents were, like, my dad and my stepmom were fans of cars, so like we used to go to car shows and stuff. So like I knew what a Mustang was. I knew what a muscle car was. I knew what was an old car and a new car. So it's like
I know which one is black. I know which one is white. And that's about it.
that one's yellow and that one's
That one
blue,
looks old,
that one
as
looks
you
old.
can say.
Yeah.
And this is something that like we had a little clip on, because we found it
Yeah,
really funny.
it
Like,
was really
we did
funny.
not. I did not remember saying this.
Yeah.
So just like it was really really cute. Just
That's too old. There's
yeah, but it just.
oh my god. This is old? No, that's too old.
So it's funny, like, you know, like the Model 1, like super old car.
Yeah, but
you know, so like you're going through and you're like, okay, is it this car? Is it this car? And you don't know, like,
that
you're
was
just
more like a dodo bird.
a dodo bird, the original,
The original.
you know, Ford Model 1.
We finished scooping the first garage.
Yeah, so we were searching through. We didn't realize it was going to be so like blatantly obvious, like presented.
And someone,
You know, you think
someone
it's the
said-
race, like, you know, search for your clue.
And also, we didn't know at the beginning that there were two garages, right? So
Yeah.
we went through the first one.
Because where they had you park was like on the outside of the first garage. You had to walk through, and then you saw everybody cross the street, and then it was the second garage.
Yeah, but then we get our clue. We get like 2-3 seconds to really admire the car, and
Mhm.
then that's about it.
That
We
was
gotta
it.
go.
Yeah, because Amber and Vinny were, you know, seconds behind us. Once
Yes.
we got our clue, ran back through, they were parking.
They were-
So
And for that, we get a route info that says, drive yourself to a skate park, park out Aucano to find your next clue. And it just says skate park, right? So at this point, we're starting like, okay, what are we gonna be doing?
There's that.
Right away, we start thinking like, how is that gonna be? Or how is that gonna affect our decision on who's gonna do the roadblock? We tried to get directions around there, but it was
there was nothing around there. First off, it was early in the morning, and the garage was like, there was nothing.
It was a
around
residential area. Like there were houses around, and that was about it.
There wasn't like shops around.
What we decided to do was just like going back to the main road and asking someone in the main road. We turn around, we make our way there, and there were two guys cleaning.
No, they were like construction workers.
Yeah.
I don't know. They were
early morning.
They were vests, like construction vests or like reflective vests.
So there were doing some work on the street, like on one of the side streets. So we stopped there, we asked them, and there's like two of them. And then funny enough, like this is the one moment so far that I get to use another language. I speak French. Let's say at 50%, like I can really understand it.
They actually don't speak Spanish.
Well, I guess they speak, but like clearly his first language was French, so his phone was in French, and I was like, great, like, and I said that to the camera, and like that was really cool. But there's so much to see that it just didn't make the edit there. So we find
so not only does Cesar speak English and Spanish, but he also speaks some French. So
we will see if it comes handy.
You never know where you're going to be. You have multiple languages. You say different things.
We have seen it so many times on previous seasons of The Amazing Grace. It's like having an extra language. It can come really, really handy.
He had to learn a third language because I only have one. we had to have at least 4 languages. He learned 3, so I just learned 1.
So we got our directions. I thought I had it clear. I wrote it down.
You actually did have clear directions. It was the roads again that were tricky because.
But now we were going into like a highway. Like it was just it was a highway and also like a tunnel. So what happened is that we miss our exit, and as well we're gonna show it on the map, like how far we made our little detour sightseeing of Santiago. But pretty much was that like we entered that tunnel and we kept going.
We kept going through the tunnel. We were like, oh, perfect. The tunnel will take us right where we need to go. It was
pretty much like the second exit. We ended up making like, I don't know, all the way outside the tunnel and a little more.
We went very far south of the city.
We almost left the map that we have. So that was just like, we were close. We were close to the border. Yeah. So once we realized that, we just kept going. And that's when you see, for the first time, some trouble in paradise for us. Like I think really it was the first time that we get to this tense moment because we got lost for maybe like 20 minutes, something like that.
It was a good like
we knew
15, 20
we
minutes.
knew that it shouldn't have taken us that long because we had checked while asking for directions. So like at that point we're like, okay, we are lost. Like it's official, like we need to stop again. So we stopped. There's a little mini mart, and like we asked the person there. He gives us he sends us back.
Yeah, I think part of that was like the whole like stressful moment is like for me, I just don't like wandering. I don't like not knowing.
But we weren't wandering.
We weren't. We really weren't. Like you did know where we were going.
Like at that point, I knew where we were exiting, and like I can see the names of the streets and the main avenue. So I know which streets are we. But I know we're lost.
Again, as the driver, you're driving without directions, and I think anyone who drives a car, you don't always have a navigator.
And
like,
we saw it with many things today.
You rely on yourself when you're driving. You put on the GPS so you know where you're going. You don't rely on that. So this was, although we kind of were navigating in past legs, this was it felt very different. I think this first time we kind of like got lost and like trying to like recover, and I was very stressed for some reason. I don't know. And it just was.
It was just the heat of the moment. The heat of the moment. Like
I was like, well, you're the one with the map. Like I can't see where we're going.
So that's when we just we got those directions, we got them well, and we ended up making it.
We recovered pretty quick, and we made it.
It was still like a good 20-25 minutes that we.
No, I think it was like 15 or 20.
But returning, I think it was 15 that we just kept going, and then whatever time we needed to go back was another 10 minutes. So
no, I think in total the being lost. No, because the highway was fast. So by the time we passed and got off.
Yeah, but then we needed to stop,
get 5 or 10 minutes, got the release.
So let's say, 20 to 30. That's a
large gap, but okay.
It was a lot. I
think it was a good.
And you can see it because all the other teams recovered, made it to the. So they had to do all of that. So if you think about it, Rod, Leticia, Juan, Shane, Danny, and Angie made it to the park.
Yeah.
Got their clue. Went in the park. They realized that there's no entrance over there. They have to return. And that's when we actually got there, report clue. We find that the roadblock is who's feeling bored. And I was like, well, I'll just do it. Whether he's trying to get on a skate. I've never skated. Skateboard?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what our thought process was. I don't remember if we had a conversation in the car about okay, we're going to a skate park. Do you think they're really going to make a skateboard? Did we have a conversation?
Yeah, we did. We did, because that was the thing. It was just I think at that point it was who's feeling the most comfortable at failing, because none of us had a skate. And it was just
I'm not a skateboarder. I think I've maybe been on a skateboard maybe once or twice.
I don't think I've ever been.
But I was not a very adventurous kid. I didn't learn to ride a two-wheeler bike till I was 8.
Really? I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, that was not my thing.
No,
I've never broken a bone. I've never had
I have a couple
stitches, none of that. So I was a very cautious child. So
I was not that much.
No.
But yeah, I've been a little more adventurous. So I guess that's the reason. There you go.
It's not for me. I mean, I would if I had to get on it, I would get on the skateboard. But
I think that's what just the mentality. That's what I was I'll do it. I'll go, and then we rip. We see that, and it's building it, which is awesome, because that is my strength. It just felt perfect. There were no.
I think either of us would have done well.
You could have
build. Very, very easily have built it, but you're very
just looking for the details and everything. Yeah. So part of as well some of the rules that we had, we couldn't go into the cement area. We couldn't run on the grass. We actually entered running the park, and they were no, read your clue. We're we cannot.
Yes, because the skateboarders were told to ride back and forth, and
so it was stay on the grass. You cannot run, and then just be careful. Pick a station. Once you get to the station, you cannot. I don't think you could swap. There were no extra equipment, and that's what we see Rod looking for the nut. And the one other thing was it said on the clue, you cannot help, but then it specified that you could not just touch someone else's tools and skateboard parts. Just it said there that it was pretty much you get there, you pick your station. So that's why on a way I was thinking, well, it would be nice working with Danny, because we both have that more of the mental strength, but I read you cannot help. So my idea was focus on you cannot help
on yourself.
Yes. Yeah. So I would have wondered if actually someone helped Rod and found the nut, if that would have helped. Yeah, I don't know. Something else might have happened. Yeah. But we'll never know. It didn't happen. He found it himself.
Yeah, found it himself. I also thought it was interesting. This was a challenge where there wasn't an actual demonstration or model of what it needed to be.
Well, there was a model, but it was in movement.
But it was moving.
There was one.
The skateboarder was in motion the whole time. So you couldn't. I think you got down on the ground.
Yes, I was on my belly, just trying to see.
Because
I wanted to make sure which one was the front of the skateboard, because on where the gray part is, it had a circle, a sticker that was higher towards one side, and then that you could see the pattern of the wheels. So I was just trying to get there. Danny, I think he mentioned it on the recap that he was asking the skateboarder to do tricks so he could see. which was really smart. And I was just like down on my belly, like trying to look the best I could. But I sort of like got the hint that it was like the wheels, the color, that it needed to have a pattern. A really big thing that happened here is like, it's the first time that we're doing a roadblock with like another 3 teams. And that was like right after a little like argument in the car, getting there. It was really tense. But I think something really important was just like, whatever happened in the car, stayed in the car.
Yeah.
And at that
once
point,
we got out, we were ready to like that.
Yeah,
we
just
left
like
behind.
We left it behind. Like we got there, and actually it was really funny because something that we had talked before the race was that Ricky doesn't like verbal encouragement because he feels it as pressure. Right?
Yes and no. I don't mind like a cheering on, but if there's too much, like I'll get distracted. So it was something that we talked about, was like, if you're gonna like continue cheering me on, it's gonna get like annoying. Just like, let me focus. I'm in the zone.
But because he doesn't like that, he wouldn't cheer me on.
So now I wouldn't cheer him on, and he's like, well,
so
hey.
Now I'm listening all the other teams, and I'm like, oh wait, everyone is cheering. Everyone is like, hey babe, like yeah babe. Oh,
yeah, babe, yeah, go, go, go. And it's like,
and we just found like really funny.
Yeah.
So we have the little clip on this part, and you can really see how much.
We had just so much fun and everything.
So this is the video we have that is just like really funny because everyone is like, yeah, baby, yeah, babe.
Cheering everybody on.
Where does nut win? No freaking clue.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. You can find it. Come on.
Got it, baby. I see your brain working.
Ricky, really? I don't get a come on, babe.
Come on, babe. You got it. Go, go, go. You want me to keep cheering?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, fine.
And I think the best part of this is that you can really tell that whatever happened in the car, stay there. Like it was behind. We just needed to keep moving forward.
And we have a good time. And I think it was just a nice bit, like a part of our personality. Like our silly sarcasm. Like.
But also like it was tense. So it was just like having that it's nice to feel that your partner is there to support you. Like they cannot help, they cannot say absolutely anything about the challenge itself, but like it's nice to feel like, for me it was good to feel that he wasn't tense, that he wasn't just as stressed, and just hearing that and hearing him laugh was like, this sounds perfect. Like I'm doing right.
I wasn't stressed at all. I knew you were going to build it. Like I had full faith in that you were going to do it. Like,
so it was just like that. Yeah, I
got
it done.
It was a fun moment. Yeah.
Okay, this happened because one was getting a lot of checks, like, and it was like a smart way because like he knew that something was wrong, and right away, I think everyone got like maybe 1 or 2 checks. I don't remember Danny. I think Danny got it at the first try.
No, he did it straight.
He went all the way and he got it. He got it
check.
right. I think my one check was that I had the wheels too tight, so they couldn't
wouldn't
roll.
spin.
So like it was just like loosening them up a little, and that was about it. So I got that done. First it was Danny, then it was Rod. No, Juan. Juan, then me, and then right after Rod and Leticia. So because of that, it was just like, okay, we gotta push because now we have 2 teams in front of us. Beanie and Amber were already there, and it was just like, let's go, let's get this direction. So we get the directions, and I just write it well. I know that at this point I need to be really specific because otherwise it's gonna be just hard. Like we cannot keep stopping and getting out of the map, as happened to Brother Leticia on this one, and we could see. And I'm pretty sure like all the teams got a little lost. And that was the reason that we were able to pass Danny and Angie. So we left about the same time, but we didn't follow.
Yes. So when we left the roadblock, so Juan and Shane, or Danny and Angie left, Juan and Shane left. And then a few minutes later, we left. They were still in the parking lot
getting directions.
Before, like, I don't know that they were getting directions together. But they were all getting directions when we left. So,
but we did ask what they were doing. Juan and Shane, we weren't sure. We know Danny and Angie were going that same way. We both checked and we cross checked directions. We did got it because there was this one person already with a phone over there.
We didn't ask for directions to the park.
There was one person. They were already talking to a person over there. So because of that, there was one release. So we just joined cross check directions.
The same person.
So at that point, it was just like we got there. We were there. We saw each other's map. We were like, yeah, it's around here. We did.
Yes. No. We did. I was remembering when we pulled out.
And for that, like we're thankful to Danny and Angie for this, like because they were starting it already. They got the release. So like the fact that they were cool with us, like checking that, like cross-checking where we're going and like getting that done. But what happens here is that, again, we've been trying to run our own race and we didn't agree with anyone like to follow. Like it wasn't like, I think once the park was circled, we were like, okay, we're all on our own. So like we saw Juan and Shane leaving. At that point, I think Rod was right behind us as well. So like everyone left.
I don't know that they were coming out of the park when we pulled out.
As much as I can remember, yes. Okay. But then we started going.
So here's what's funny. So when we pulled out of the parking lot, Juan and Shane were like next to us. And again, we didn't know where they were going. And I don't know, something, the speed racer in me, I used to drive a Mustang. So like, I like to pick up and go. I started like, I don't even know why. I started like racing.
Like, I mean, because you're in a race, maybe?
I'm literally in a race. So I'm shifting, I'm going fast. And
so now remember that we got a whole talk about,
we got like a safety like a very safety, like a good safety briefing. And I'm trying to be like a good driver, being safe. Because
you're still well at the limit.
No, I hadn't had any warnings.
Until
this moment.
Because he was looking at the speed limit. He wasn't looking at the right.
I was looking at the speed limit. I just wasn't looking at the right one. So on the road that we were on, it was 2 lanes and 2 lanes, but there was a median between. We were on the 2 lanes that said 40 kilometers per hour, and the other side was 80 kilometers per hour. Well, I saw 80 and said, well, let's go. So I just like floor it, and Juan and Shane must have seen me, and they saw the same thing, must have seen the same thing. So we just like take off, and I think we all thought we were on the highway. We sure were not, because there were speed bumps. So literally, I'm like, I probably was doing like
a big apologize right now to our crew.
Because I was doing like 70 kilometers per hour. So I had to like slam on the brakes to not like fly over the speed bump.
And again, like this was within like maybe a minute. Like it's just whatever it took him to get to that speed. Like it's not that we were at that speed for that long.
Yeah. I wasn't speeding.
We entered, but at that point we just entered the highway. Like it's like, and
I was like getting like onto the on-ramp type of thing. But so that was really funny. And I like slammed on the brake, and I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I won't do that again. Like, so I was very cautious from there on, but that was really funny. But after that point,
we got on the highway.
We separated, like Juan and Shane went a different direction. Yes. We don't know where they went. Danny and Angie were nowhere to be seen. And we
just kept going. But again, we kept going a little too far. We missed our exit. Actually, we got off what we thought was our exit. So we were short an exit. So then we went back in. Because we got off, and then we just kept going a little bit. We were like, no, we actually have to go back. So we went back in, and then we missed our exit. So now the next time we're out, we're getting out like towards the mountains, like what Ron and Leticia were. And then we turned, and there was like a little park where 3 girls were there. And I'm like, Ricky, just park. He parked, and we're like, girls, can we please borrow your phone?
Really?
Yes, all of that happened. And the girls were like, no, like they got scared. They got scared. Yes. Well, okay. You remember them now?
I do remember that.
Okay. Because they were like, No. Then we were like, okay, like, but please, like, you're the only ones. They were the only ones around there. We were like, please, we need it. And as we're walking back to the car, they were like, okay, like, you can use it. So now we're asking for the directions. We take notes as well. We know now that pretty much we needed to U-turn, but not back into the highway, but another highway, and we would make it towards the back of the park. So once we re-enter the map that we have, because we were pretty much outside, I was able to get us there. We parked and we don't see any other cars. But again, because we got lost, we thought that someone might have arrived, done it, and that was
passed
it.
us.
So one thing about being a super fan of the Amazing Race is that when the first team gets to a place, usually something is happening. In this case, the Chinchineros were like playing for us as we were running towards there. And you can see it on the episode. So like, because it was like really high energy and everything, I'm like, I was just wondering if they have done that for every other team that was early there, if it was just going to be for us. But like, that was a little bit of a hint that we might have a chance to have passed some teams.
Yeah.
We got there, and as usual, we see a mint.
The mint drum, I was like,
that's the one. And as well, there were multiple instructors, and we asked, like, who's the most energetic? And I think on the episode, you can just say that we're like, you. But like, at that point, we were like, who's ready to teach us? Like, or something like that. Because we just wanted to see the energy. I think getting that instructor is just they become part of your team, because
they're your team.
Something else that the instructions said, that we needed to go through a training. Whoever picked the drum
had to go through like a 3 or 4 minute like training on how to like get geared up and then like learn the beat of the drum. Now, I did say I did marching band, which I did do marching band in high school, but I was in the color guard. I did not play the drum or an instrument.
But you know that a drum usually is.
But I know, like, I'm very familiar with instruments and how to like wear them, I guess. But like usually that like baritone type drum, I think it's baritone drum. You play on the front.
And this one was like,
this one was behind, so like
the chicken
wings. So it was kind of cool, like, to see.
We had a little bit of that, because as well, like, we had some
backwards. And you had to like stomp your foot to make the cymbal go.
Okay, this arm, this foot at the same time. Ah!
Yeah.
We're good to go. Coopera para los Chinchineros.
It was really fun. Like the 3 minutes, like learning the whole thing. I was like really focused on the rhythm, and I was really worried. Like, I was like, we're going to be stuck here for like 10 minutes, like,
because you need to learn
the whole rhythm. And I was like, okay, I'm getting it. And I did end up getting the rhythm.
And once he got it and he played it once,
okay, go.
He gave us a thumbs up, and
I was like, okay, good.
Like,
but then it didn't. Once he released us, it didn't matter. It wasn't like, oh, you messed it up, come back and like relearn it, which was like.
I just want to make a little pointer here, that the way that we picked the Detour. So I think some people got scared because it did say that you had to go through like this training, and then if you think about it, it also like it's a Detour that depends on other people.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been calling it begging, and like through the seasons and all of these challenges. I don't see it that way, because it's more like you're hustling there, like you're giving a performance. And I think as well, like I was telling Angie on their podcast, is like, if you have to see it this way, like you're giving a performance and asking for something in return. If they like it, yes. If not, you're gonna have to move to the next person. The one thing here, first of all, the training, and the second is that for every person that you interact with, you have to get a release. So although we thought about all of that, and maybe like the rock climbing like would have been a little faster, it wasn't faster for us. Like, just like thinking about it, like this was something that, yes, it depended more of other factors, and you needed to take the training, but I think it just was the decision, and it turned out to be the right decision.
Yeah, it definitely was the faster thing for us. And
And
it was way more fun too.
it was really fun. But
Like I'm not like terrified of heights, and like rock climbing, it is very difficult. But if you use your legs more than your arms, like if you know the techniques, like I mean,
Yep.
I've rock climbed in the past. I'm not great at it, but like if I had to do it, we would do it.
I think we would. We were the mentality like if we have to do something, we're just gonna
just go and do it. There's no like
we're gonna find a way to do it. But
we're gonna pick the strategic one for us, and that was
the Chinchineros.
We're charismatic. That I even said like we're charismatic. We could bust this out.
It was so much fun. It really felt like Amazing Race to the core. Like it just just needed to be like high energy, and people would go into like just whatever coins we were getting. So at the beginning, thankfully, we got like a couple bills. One more thing, and we're gonna go back for while we're saying the tips for future racers is like we knew what the exchange rate was. And this is because we passed the airport and we left. But we're gonna go a little bit more in depth on that.
Yeah,
so we knew that it wasn't a lot of money.
It wasn't a lot. But while we were getting the releases for everyone that we interacted with,
we were counting how much we had.
So we knew like we weren't just like aimlessly walking around just trying to
get like just collect and then we
over. As soon as we got the amount, we were out.
Yeah. There was a zoo over there, I believe, or an aquarium or something.
Yeah, there was like an attraction very close by. So there was like a group of like
and that's where we're like, that's when we need to go. And like we
didn't go very far from like
we didn't have to. We were just like we were
another advantage of getting there early was that we kind of like
scooped whatever that was the closest.
The first group of people, because there were people sitting on the bench, there were families close by. But the park was, it was like kind of mid-morning at that point. So like people were moving around. So there were enough people where it was easy enough for other teams to get in there.
So we got our money, we go back, we collect our clue from a hat. And we were just ready. Like we stopped for directions one more time for the Estación Mapocho.
On our way out, there was like a group of young girls like sitting on the bench
and it just said, oh, wait, where is it? Sorry, here are my notes. Make your way to the Estación Mapocho, and then we had an address, park on Avenida Independencia, so we did have a parking spot, and that was pretty much it. We made our way. As we're leaving the park, we see Danny and Angie arriving, and we just pay it back. Like they told us where the entrance for the skate park was. We're just like, for the Chinchineros, you just like keep going straight to the right.
Turn left into the park.
Turn left into the park. And then a right.
Straight in, and then as you go down, make a quick like right veer off to the right.
And you were going to see them.
Because we didn't want them like wandering through the park. They they did the same for us in the skateboard. So we were like, we'll put them on their track. And then that way we paid it forward and so like things like that, like the little directions, like it wasn't hurting us. We knew where we were going. Did we tell them that after it was the pit stop?
I don't think so. No, because we didn't stop. We were running out and then we're running.
Passing, and it was like,
so it was just like here, there. And like it was like we got back on our car.
Seconds.
And at this point we started talking on the car, and I really thought that we were 5th, 6th place, somewhere around there. Like we were chatting because
it was tricky to know because we got lost before arriving at the Chinchineros, and then getting there we were like, okay, well it didn't seem like anybody else had arrived,
but it's still
we finished and it was like pit stop, okay, and then we passed Danny and Andrew, and we're like, well, they finished before us, so maybe they got lost, or then
so it was like the thinking of everyone got lost a little, but like what if everyone just went and did the rock climbing
closer, and they busted it out fast, because like we figured all the physical teams are going to go there, bust it out quick,
and then just but we made our way back into the route. We weren't that crazy far, and we for a split second we turned into a one direction straight. Ricky backed up right away, and we just kept going.
That was my second.
So wasn't that much trouble getting to the station. No. What happened was that on our way there, we're trying to look for a parking spot or a street, but this is like an avenue. So we see the station, we know where we are, but we're trying to look like where the
Yeah,
street
it
is.
says. I think it said marked parking.
No, it just said parking. It didn't say marked parking.
It just said parking. Okay.
So we were looking for the streets, and as we're passing, we're on the second lane, and we see the flags and that the arrows, and I'm like, Ricky, it's over there. He's like, are you sure? And we just passed it. So
see, here's the reason why I didn't like just cut over and go in. The flags were like next to in front of the station was like a cobblestone courtyard. It didn't look like a driveway or a parking lot. It looked like where people just like were walking up into the station. So it didn't look like a place where you could just like drive into. There were no other cars. There was nothing around to say like, this is where you're allowed to drive your car. So I was like, well, I can't just drive up onto the curb and into this courtyard. Like, it's not a place for cars.
But the arrows were there. So
the arrows were there.
We just have to U-turn. So we shortened that gap between Juan and Shane and us without even knowing. So we did one more loop, and once we entered,
like 2 minutes to like loop around.
It just felt like I felt it in me that like we were middle of the pack at this point. And I'm like, that's when I said, Ricky, like we'll have to sprint. So we park the car, we leave the keys as instructed, and like we just get out of, and there's this beautiful station that it was so pretty, so cool, because it was just like in full magnificent, like it was huge, and then just fell in the middle.
And the boy with the skateboard. And
so we start running, and they're like, we make it to the mat, and the first thing I see is that the mat is dusty, and there's like some footprints. And that was just like, okay, of course, Phil play around with us a little bit, like making us feel like we were right, that we were in the middle of the pack. And then he's like, you're team number one. And that felt, it felt crazy.
It was an awesome feeling. But like, I think just because like we had kind of stumbled a little bit with the directions, and we worked all come together for the roadblock, and then we kind of all dispersed, and we didn't really see anyone but Danny and Angie for the rest after all of that. So it's like you really were spread out. You didn't know where anyone was for most of the day, and
it just getting lost. It was the biggest stress.
The unknown, like the whole day. So,
and
I'm sure all the other teams felt that way too. Like like driving.
We see it with Chalisa as well. Chalisa just
she had no clue. No clue what her placement was.
So we win a trip to Singapore, and this is awesome. It's really cool. We're looking forward to it. Because as well, it involves some food there, like a food tour. So we're really excited.
And cultural tours will be cool too.
And with that, we started stepping out of the mat. As we're moving out, Juan and Shane are coming in.
Yeah, so like 2-3 minutes behind us. Like they were super close.
Yes.
But I thought it was funny. Like Phil goes, hey, like, are you guys gonna let any of the other teams come in first and like win some prizes?
We were like, oh, we want it all.
I was like, we want it all. Like if that's what we have to do, like to make our,
more than anything, it's just like the dream was being on the race.
Just being on the race.
So now we're on the race, and like we got first, and it's like what's happening? Like it really was like surreal. It's just like because we're putting the work, and we put on the work before. We trained so much. We like we put
in the effort. We studied, we worked, and it was like at this point it was like, whoa, like everything we're doing is like paying off.
Yes.
And it just was becoming like it was a dream becoming a reality. I'm getting emotional. It's early in the morning, so I'm very emotional in the morning.
But in a really crazy way, because we were doing so well, and it's like why,
whoa, like how is like.
Look at all these teams, like mentally strong, like physically
strong, and then it's like it's becoming a reality for us at this point. Like, whoa, like we are doing really well. We're being really consistent. It's like, and it's feeling really good. If we can hold on to this, like we do have a shot. And like, there were a couple of little cracks in this, and it's like, if we can fill in those cracks and like seal them up and learn from it, I feel like we can be really like we're strong contenders, and I'm like really proud of how we were as a couple.
So now something that we'll have to consider on the next leg in Argentina is that we're starting with a different team. We haven't raced against Juan and Shane. They're hungry
And they
for
are
first.
hungry. They
And not only
said
that,
it. They said it. They're like, we feel like we're a first place team in the middle of the pack, and they are like, they were determined this leg, and coming into a mega leg, they're ready.
I mean,
They're
and not only
so
them, like
ready.
everyone is on the same page that they're learning from their mistakes. Is like it just it's getting harder and harder. And one more thing that we need to talk about this episode, we're really sad that we got to see Kishore and Courage live. They were so passionate about it.
Determined, passionate, like
funny. The
so
Chaos Cousins, and like they brought so much joy to this.
Like, I know people are like, oh, they made like the decisions, but they're very smart. Like the fact that they were able to think about different things, and when you're in that moment, it's hard to make decisions. Like you just, and when you have that type of passion and determination, like sometimes you just get overwhelmed.
I mean, your feelings, your emotions,
your emotions when you're so invested.
Yes,
like they were invested, and sometimes your heart, and you just get overwhelmed, and you're like, okay, go, like just do it. And
I mean, we're just really thankful that we got to meet them, and like now we have 2 more friends in our lives, and like
it's just really cool, like the bonds that we've made.
We love
in
it.
The race and outside of the race.
And with that was pretty much this episode. We do have a couple maps.
Let's share some maps.
Just for you to have a little idea on how it went from one side to the other, as well, like how far did we got lost. That one is the first.
Okay.
We have a first map that is just like where the starting line was, where the travel agency was, and where the cars were parked.
Yeah.
So it was really straightforward.
It was.
But again, once you're thinking, like once you're in the race.
Yeah. Once you're in the race, you.
And that herd mentality, like the third.
Why are they running? Let me follow. Yeah.
So they all run and they got lost for.
Yeah. So we started in that plaza there. We came up and around. We stopped at that travel agency, and then
we just run for the park.
Yeah. Just at the end there, then we swapped, and we got directions in the middle, like on the way to the cars, hopped in the car. And that street there was one way. So we had to go back past the plaza.
Which is like, now that I'm wondering, is like, if the other teams are over there, we see us heading that way. I don't know if someone might have just like keep staring that way and see us pass.
Maybe they saw us pass, yeah.
Or maybe they didn't. That's what they kept running. But that was it. And as for the other map, which is a little bigger, so that we have the pit start, and then this is the pit start, and then we will head to the agglomerated performance thing to see the car. We got our clue. So now this is where we needed to go for the skateboard. This is where we ended up a little lost. So we just kept going through this avenue. We made it somewhere around here, and then we just made our way back up.
Yeah.
Once we were here, we kept going. We were supposed to go here. We ended up here, somewhere up here, like asking for directions. Then the Chinchineros, and finally the pit stop.
So looking at it, really things weren't that far apart.
Except
but we made things really far apart.
Which was just interesting. We really learned a lot from like having the map, looking for bearings, and just things that we have practiced before, but we got to actually apply it. And finally, another thing that I have are the drawings, because why not? Let me share my talent with everyone. My little art. And this one was the Chinchineros. We were just like trying to remember, well, even the patterns on the maracas that we picked. Yeah. You don't know. I mean, memory challenge happened, and you might need everything. Or easier choice was picking the mint green drum. And that was pretty much it for my drawings. And I had a little more, but I guess I can just
we also drew like the currency for every every country we were in and all that.
And with that, we're gonna get to our last section, which is tips for future racers. Bing, 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 bing. You want to start?
Yeah, I can start. So my first tip is, if you have a fight or an argument, you have to figure out a way to have it, come up with a plan to let it go. We had our little spat about, it wasn't even really an argument. It was just like tension. Like, I was stressed. I didn't know where we were. I didn't feel like I knew where we were going. He knew where we were going.
Yeah, but you had no control over it.
I had no control, and I didn't feel like I knew where we were going. And it's very hard for me to not have control. And it's something that we had many conversations about, is like, not that I'm a control freak, but like, I like order. I like to know. I don't like a lot of like unknown variables. So driving around not knowing where am I going is stressful. So that's kind of where that tension came from. And being able to like talk it out and then move on. Like, that stayed in the car, and we were able to move on, and then have the rest of the leg was fine.
And once you're done, like, remember, once you're done, and if you're moving on to the next leg, you will have time at the hotel to talk about it, try to fix it, and like, but it's
wherever.
Like when it's race time, move on.
Yeah, don't fester in it. Have the moment, learn from it, and move on, because you just can't. It'll fester, and it'll ruin.
You cannot fix anything there.
It'll ruin your race, and it'll affect you, and you won't go far.
Do you have a second tip?
I do have a second tip. And it's for the pit stop or wherever you're going for navigation. If there's a red and yellow flag
or arrow,
it probably means something.
Yes.
They get ingrained in your brain. It means something. If it's pointing somewhere, or it's on a pole, or it's on a picture or something, it means something. So trust it.
So much.
Just go for it. Like, if it's pointing in on a cobblestone path that looks like a courtyard where people are supposed to be walking, guess what? Drive up on the curb.
Yeah. So much it gets engraved on you.
It could be the 3 or 4 minutes that cost you first place or last place.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, like, so much it gets engraved on you that right now, like, on a group chat with the rest of the cast, like, we just send randomly like pictures of like red and yellow, and we're like, yeah.
Oh, look, red and yellow, bringing back memories.
Yeah. I do have one tip for this one, and I think it's, again, being aware. Like, although you are not racing, at some points, just be aware, because everything that you can collect as for information, it's gonna help you most likely. On previous seasons that you're flying, I have heard like maybe tips from like Brooke that said that she used to talk to all the flight attendants and just get as much information, or we have seen it as well, just from different seasons, how much like they research on the computers or on cell phones, like currency, language, how to say like a couple words, or like hallmarks. No, what am I trying to say? Just like place to visit, like important places. But one more thing for us was like, as we were passing by the airport, we saw the currency exchange booth, and we saw how much was worth, like
the exchange
$1.
rate.
The exchange rate to $1. So thankfully for that information helped us, knowing that we didn't need to collect more than $3 at the Chinchineros. So like, even if you're not racing, be aware of your surroundings, try to learn as much as you can from the country. And if you're passing by the airport, just like, might as well just look.
Take it in.
Take it in. Even if you're running, just look at it, write it down, and
you never know when that type of information comes in handy. And especially if you're like trying to like, if you're in a taxi and you like want to kind of like bargain or negotiate a price, like if the price is like, 2,500 pesos, it's like, all right, well, that's not that much money. Like, you're trying to like whittle it down. It's like, dude's trying to make some money. So like, why are you trying to like finagle? But you know, it's like, or if someone's trying to like rip you off,
Yeah, you're at least
you're
aware.
aware. You're like, okay, here, just like take my 100,000 pesos, and you're like, whoa, that's like way too much.
Yes.
So just like things like that, you can be aware, and you're not getting like ripped off, and you like run out of money or you know whatever.
But those were our tips for future racers. And with that, we're really looking forward for the Mega Leg.
Yeah,
next
Mega Leg.
week. So